Hi everyone, welcome back to our January Sew Together here at Sewspire. Today we are going to be crafting the interior of our happy-go-lucky backpacks, as well as installing a zipper closure on that, crafting the flap and the straps. So that means we're going to finish this project today, and then next week we're going to price this project out. So we have a lot of work to do today, so we're going to go ahead and get started right away. Okay, so last week we crafted the exterior, continuing on with the order of operations, which is outlined in the supplemental PDF that goes along with this Sew Together. We are going to be crafting the interior of the bag. Then we are going to install the zipper. We're going to create a flap closure. And we are going to create the adjustable straps. So basically we will be able to finish the bag today. So I'm very excited about that. We're going to add a full-length slip pocket to the interior of this bag, and so that is crafted from a piece of material which is 18 inches by 14 inches, and then you will take the top and bottom, or the shorter edges, and press those over about an inch so that you can press that in half and get a pocket that measures approximately 9 by 14. I like to stagger that top lip just a bit so that I can get some dimension there on the top edge of that pocket. So once you have your pocket pressed, you're going to run 2 rows of stitching across that top edge to finish the pocket. Okay, and now I have a pocket that is finished along the top edge there and folded across the bottom edge. So I want to position that on top of one of my interior body panels, which measures 14 by 14. And I'm going to bump that up about 2 inches from the base of that panel. And I want to divide this pocket in thirds. You can divide your pocket in half. You might want to incorporate some pen slips in that. To divide it, I like to fold it and then finger press or steam press the vertical stitch lines in. You will notice that my interior panels are not interfaced, and that is because we use the Annie Soft and Stable on the exterior, and I want to minimize the bulk because we even use that Annie's on the pockets. So there's plenty of body in this bag. So if you're using a high quality interior fabric, you will be just fine. So I have my pocket in place, and I am going to first stitch across the base of that, and then I will run 2 rows of vertical stitching to divide that pocket in thirds. Okay, I have attached my full-length slip pocket to the interior rear panel, and now I am going to use the T method of construction to assemble the interior. So we have 2 side panels which are 4 by 14, and those are going to be positioned on the right and left hand sides of this pocket panel. And then I have a remaining interior body panel that is also 14 by 14. And I have a base panel which is also 4 by 14. That base panel is going to get positioned along the base of that remaining body panel, and I am going to use 5/8 of an inch seam allowance to stitch across the base and down the right and the left hand sides of this. Okay, so now I have a tri-folding interior panel and a bifolding interior panel. I want to take the bifolding panel and position it on top of the tri-folding panel, and I want to center that base along that center panel, and I'm going to stitch seam to seam. That is different than end to end. My 5/8 of an inch seam allowance will remain on the end of each side of this. And now I have what looks like a large T. Here's the top of the T, and here is the trunk of that T. Now I want to take these sides and connect those. So I'm going to connect the base of the side with the side of the base by folding that material over and lining that up. And I'm also stitching here seam to seam. So I'm leaving the seam allowance on that one side. The opposite side is already attached. So I'm going to stitch seam to seam on both sides. And now your stage is set. The next step is to raise up that remaining wall by aligning the sides on the left and the right and stitching from the top to that seam. Okay, and now the interior is complete. I want to take that top edge and fold that over about 1 inch. And you can steam press that or you can finger press that. And it might be helpful to put a few clips in that and hold it. And then next we're going to prep the zipper panels, which we will attach to the front and rear interior body panels. Okay, so these zipper panels measure 7 by 16 inches. You're going to take those and press them in half, right sides facing. I have one complete here. You will end up with a completely finished panel. One end will be open with the edges turned inward and pressed, and one will be folded nicely. So the way that you do that is to press your panel in half long ways, right sides facing, and then using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, stitch up those short ends. Once you have the ends stitched, you're going to turn that right side out and poke out those corners well. And then you're going to give this a good press and turn that top edge inward about 1/2 inch and press that as well. The easiest way to do that is to pull on the corners, and that will just naturally fold in for you. So tuck the corners in first and then give a pull, and you should be able to get that under your iron and get that press nice and straight. Okay, you're going to need 2 of these finished zipper panels, and you have a couple of options when it comes to this interior zipper. First off, you could completely omit that if you liked. Your second option is to use a finished zipper, which is open at one end and closed at the opposite end, and it can be longer than these panels. That's fine. I'm going to show you how to install a 18-inch zipper on this project today. Another option is to use zipper by the yard and cut it to fit this panel exactly and insert the zipper in between those layers on both sides and stitch everything inside. So using this 18-inch zipper, I am going to position the open edge of the zipper gusset right up along the zipper teeth, and I need to use the straight pins for this to ensure that I get through all the layers and nothing slips. And I will do the same on the opposite side. And then I'm going to take my second zipper panel and position that right up against those zipper teeth and pin through all of those layers. I want to have the excess part of the zipper tape hanging off the end there. Again, if you are using a shorter zipper that will fit in between the layers of this, you can encase your zipper tape in between these panels. That is totally an option for you. I am leaving this zipper extending off the edge so that when I open the bag, I have even more space to load it. That's really the benefit of having the extended zipper tail. So now what I want to do is put this up on the machine deck, and you can use a zipper foot if you like. You can bump over your needle position. Just stitch as close as you can to the zipper teeth to attach all of these layers, and you're going to run one row of stitching down each side and then come back in and add a second row of stitching. And you can zip and unzip as needed to clear that zipper pull. Okay, I have my zipper framed beautifully, and now I want to bring back over this interior panel. Now what I want to do is take this beautifully finished zipper and I want to center that along one of those interior panels, and I'm just aligning up that top edge there, and I already have those clips in place so I can get that side on, and then I'm going to raise up the opposite side. You can flip that over if that's easier for you, and you just want to keep it centered and use those clips to line up that top edge. You can add some more there to make sure nothing slips. And then what you can do is unzip that zipper so that you can get clips all the way to the edge of that zipper frame. And that's that's what that looks like here. So now what I want to do is put this up on the machine deck and stitch 3/8 of an inch from the top of that interior and that zipper frame, and that's just going to attach the zipper frame to my interior panel. And you can stitch in one continuous stitch line. There will be a portion where you will just be stitching on the interior, and that is fine. I like to start here at the edge of the zipper gusset so that I know I am getting that attached immediately. So I have made it all the way around the edge there, so my zipper is securely attached to the interior, and I have this nice long tail on the one end which can just get tucked inside. That's no big deal there, and that's what it will look like. The zipper will push down in on the interior there, and I can hold this end to open that, and then I have the option, if I want, of extending that opening all the way across there. For right now I want the zipper zipped, and I want to go ahead and push that zipper all the way inside so it lays nice and flat. And I am going to bring over my exterior, which has been sitting clipped for the week, so that foam should be laying nice and flat there. I have that top edge turned inward, and I want to now fit my interior inside of this. I want to put the pockets along the exterior wall of this bag, and I already have my clips in place. So I'm going to begin at the side seams, and I'm going to align those side seams first, and I can just reuse the clips that are already on the bag, and I will align the side seams on each side first. And if your seam allowance was consistent, this should line up really nice for you. If your side seams are not lining up, that's an indication that you need to go back and adjust your seam allowance. So I'm going to go ahead now and come along the front and rear and align that interior with the top edge of the exterior. And so now that zipper, you can see, is sitting down in there nicely, and my bag is aligned. Now I am going to unzip the zipper and reach both hands inside of the bag and fit that lining in there well. Inside and see how everything looks. The white base on this interior print makes it so easy to see what's on the inside of the bag. Okay, so now we have our exterior completely crafted, and we have the interior and the zipper installed. The next step for us is to craft the flap closure. So your flap closure is crafted from 12 4-inch squares. I have my little fussy cut fox, so she counts as 2 of those squares, and you will do 4 rows of 3, and then you will back this with the Annie's Soft and Stable, and I chose to run 2 rows of vertical top stitching so that I didn't cut across my fox on this, but you could also run horizontal rows of cross stitching. I'll show you what that looks like. The purpose of that stitching is to attach the panel to the Annies and then add a little interest with the top stitching. So I want to take my top stitched exterior flat panel and position that right sides facing with my interior flat panel, and I want to stitch down the left and the right hand long edges and across the base. Your flat panels are going to measure approximately 10 inches across. Mine is actually 11 inches across, which is fine. A lot of it is going to depend on the seam allowance that you use. So anywhere between 10 and 11 across, and then they should be 14 inches long, all right, is just fine. But the one thing that should be for sure is your interior lining should be exactly the same size as your exterior with the Annies. So now using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to stitch across the right hand side, the base, and the left hand side. Okay, now that I have stitched around the 3 sides, I'm going to trim this up to 1/4 inch, and I'm going to turn that right side out and give it a good press. Okay, I have pressed my panel. I love how it looks. That's the front there, box, nice and centered, and then on the back I have this complimentary critter fabric. So the next step is to top stitch around those finished edges, and I just line the right hand edge of my foot up against the edge of the flap. Okay, and now I have the cutest flap. Oh, I just love how that fox turned out right there as the focal point on this. And there is the back side of that. Now the next step for me is to mark where I want to install those exterior snaps, and I am going to need to bring over the exterior for that so I can make sure that those are in the right place. So you remember on the exterior we created this awesome lip, so these snaps are nice and easy to close, and so what I need to do is flip over my flap and mark where those snaps should be positioned. I can come up about 1 inch on the flap, but I need to make sure that I know where center is. And so what I've done is center the flap on the exterior, and then I'm finding center of those magnetic snaps, and I'm just putting 2 pins in there to hold that so that I can very carefully mark that without making much of a mess. So the snaps will cover up the mark. I just want to make sure that I mark ever so slightly where those pins are, because I need to take those out to punch the hole. So you can see it's just a little teeny tiny red dot there, and I am going to use my cam press to install the opposite side of these magnetic snaps. So I will be using the hole punch first, and I am going to be punching a hole through all of these layers because that is how these particular snaps work. They have a nice finish cap. If you do not have the cam press and this type of snap, You'll want to use heavy duty snaps, which you can install with a small hammer and a cutting board and achieve the same look with the decorative head on the exterior. So I am going to position this flap right up on the press and punch right through that little red mark. And then I am going to go ahead and install the back of that snap and the cap right now so that my hole doesn't grow any bigger and I don't lose any parts. So that's what that looks like. Then I'm going to bump over and press the hole for the second snap. And go ahead and install that. And so I have the magnetic portion on the underside and then these decorative caps on the exterior. Now I just need to switch out the dies so that I can set these snaps. Okay, so I'm going to position that on the die and then I will press that down to set. Okay, and now both of my snaps have been set. I want to bring back over the exterior and test that. Yay! Lucky me. Everything aligned perfectly and my flap is functional. Now I want to turn that over to the back side here and I want to tuck that raw edge of that flap in between the interior and the exterior. So that's going to mean I may have to abandon my clips and switch to straight pins because the clips are going to interfere with the flap fitting in there. And then once you are happy with your snap placement, we need to position the triangle ring across the back. And so if you are working with the 1.5 inch triangle ring, you will cut your strap tab 6 by 6. And then this is what the triangle ring looks like if you're not familiar. And that tab will just slide right on that ring. And then you have the option of installing a rivet on that to keep that hardware from sliding up. And I am going to go ahead and install a rivet. And I will be using the cam press for that as well. So I'm just going to switch back out to the hole punch there. And I'm going to go ahead and run a row of stitching across those raw ends just to hold everything. If you did not want to install a rivet, you could stitch across there as well. And so I just want to punch a hole through all the layers right at center, about 1 inch down from that hardware. And I am using 8mm rivets for this, so I will need 1 post and 1 cap. And this is what those look like. And so I'm going to install the post and then pop the cap on there, and I will switch out the dies and set that. And I just put that right up on the press. And then that punches that post down and the rivet is in place. So So that triangle ring is going to get positioned right at center along the back in between the flap and the exterior. So I can go ahead and get that in place. I'm just tucking those raw edges in, and then I'm pinning through all of those layers. Now I am also going to install tabs on each end for my shoulder strap. So I will be using O-rings for those, and I will also want to install rivets. So if you are not familiar with the 4-ply strap method, I'm going to show you how I create that strap now, so you have the option of adding these shoulder straps as well. So for the O-rings that I'm using, I decrease the width to 5 inches by 6 inches in length. I'm going to press that over in half long ways. And actually these are 7 inches long. 6 is fine. I already have this one prepped, so I'll stick with 7. So press that over long ways in half, open that up, bring the outer edges inward to meet on that center press line, fold that, and then stitch down the open end and the opposite folded edge to finish. Then you can slide your O-ring on your strap tabs and stitch across the base. And you will need 2 of those. And then I also want to install the rivets on these. So I will need 2 more rivets. Again, the rivets are completely optional. You also have the option of running a row of stitching across the top if you prefer, or you really could just let the ring slide up and down on the strap as well. If you would like to add another strap with a key fob on it, now is the time to do that. You can tuck that in between the interior and the exterior layers as well. You also have the option of slipping that key fob into the top lip of your interior pocket if you like. I am not installing a key fob on this one here because I would likely have my keys in that front pocket. So right now I'm tucking this shoulder strap tab in between the interior and the exterior layers right at center, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well. Once you're positive that you are satisfied with your flap placement and the 3 tabs across the top of the bag, you will unsnap your flap and you can unzip the zipper, and you're going to remove your machine deck if you have that capability, and then position this bag up on the machine deck starting at that flap closure. And you're going to just need to lift up that presser foot and align the right hand top edge of the bag with the right hand edge of that presser foot, and then look inside there and make sure that everything is laying flat. The zipper panel should be laying flat on the machine deck, and then under that is the interior panel, then the flap, and then the exterior panel, which is why we're starting at the flap, because that's the area of greatest risk there to shift. So we want to get that in place first. So the mission is to stitch all the way around the perimeter of the bag, nice and slow, and that will allow us to attach those strap tabs, the flap, the interior, and the exterior. Okay, I made it all the way around. I'm just checking everything out and it looks really good. I want to come back in and add a second row of stitching at those shoulder tabs and along the back of the bag where the triangle ring is. And I'm just bumping down just a bit, and I'm going to add one more row of stitching. And then along the back, I'm going to lift that zipper up so I come down on the interior of that. So I'm just going to hold that zipper up, fit that up on the machine deck, lift up that foot and get myself situated right below that tab. Then I'm going to peek underneath and make sure my zipper panel is completely out of the way. So for the most part, this bag is complete now. We just have to craft the 3 adjustable straps. One will be fixed on the shoulder here, and 2 will be adjustable so that the bag can, in fact, be used as a backpack. And so I want to bring over my original prototype and reference those straps for you. Alright, so here is the original Happy-Go-Lucky, and on that I have a fixed shoulder strap. I am going to show you today how to craft this fixed shoulder strap. I also have 2 adjustable straps on the back which have swivel fobs attached to them, and I'm going to walk you through the steps of creating the adjustable strap with the swivel fobs on those so that you can use this bag as a backpack. So in total you're going to need to cut out 3 straps. Those straps are 6 inches wide and they have a 1.5 inch strip of the annies in the center. So these are crafted in the same way that I craft all of my fabric straps and fabric tabs. Press this piece of material in half long ways. Open that up and bring those outer edges inward to meet on that center press line. Insert your batting or your annies. If you're using quilt batting, go ahead and cut that 3 inches wide. The annies, you just need 1 ply, 1.5 inches wide to sit in one of those channels. And then you're going to go ahead and fold that over and press well again. You will prep 3 of these straps, and we are going to go ahead and put the machine back together and begin by stitching down that open edge first, then adding a second row along the folded edge and 2 additional rows of stitching to finish. Okay, I have my 2 rows of stitching in place on this nicely padded fabric strap. Now you can add a second row on each side, or you can run a row of stitching right down the center, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I have a beautiful padded strap here. Now I'm going to walk you through the steps to making the adjustable backpack straps first. I only have the nickel swivel fobs left, so I am just going to walk you through this process. I'm not actually going to stitch these on because this is going to be my shoulder strap on this bag, and I really want the hardware to match, so that's why you see mismatched hardware here. Your bag should have matching hardware for sure. So the first step for both straps, regardless if they are removable or fixed, is for you to true up one end of that strap and attach a tri-glide. The tri-glide buckle can have a fixed center bar or a movable center bar. You're just going to slide that cut edge of the strap around the center bar, regardless if it's fixed or if it moves. And so now the bar is on the back of the strap, and the actual frame of the tri-glide is on the front of the strap. You want to fold over one edge of the strap and slide the buckle up so that you can stitch across and attach that tri-glide to this strap. It is a good idea to run 2 rows of stitching across here. Okay, so now the tri-glide is attached to the strap at one end on the center bar of the tri-glide. Now for the adjustable removable straps, which go on the backpack straps, and you'll have 2 of those, you're going to slide on your 1.5 inch swivel fob. Test these before you put them on your strap. Sometimes the spring here on this will be defective. It doesn't happen very often, but enough that you would want to test yours and make sure that they are not defective. So that goes on to the center of the strap, and there is nothing else that you need to do with that. Then you would take your remaining free end of your strap and go over that center bar and back under that center bar, and that's what makes the strap adjustable. Then the next step is to attach the remaining 1.5 inch fob onto that end of that strap. So thread that on, fold over the edge just like we did when we attached the tri-glide, and run 2 rows of stitching across there, and you will have an adjustable removable backpack strap. You're going to need to craft 2 of these. Now, as mentioned, I do not want mismatchy hardware on my bag, so I'm going to take off these nickel swivel fobs, and I am going to now convert this strap, which has the tri-glide attached to one end, into my fixed shoulder strap. By fixed, I mean it will always remain on the bag. It will still be adjustable, I just will not be able to take it off the bag. My strap is technically upside down. I have this edge of the tri-glide facing up, and I am going to thread the strap through the right hand O-ring, and then I am going to take that raw edge and bring it over the center bar and around, and then pull that strap through. So essentially this ring is that first 1.5 inch swivel fob that we thread on in the removable strap. Then I have one free end here. I want to make sure my strap is not twisted, and I'm going to take that free end and thread it through that remaining O-ring, and then take that raw edge and fold it over, and then run 2 rows of stitching across there to attach my strap to this bag. And now I have an adjustable padded shoulder strap on my Happy-Go-Lucky backpack, which you will also have 2 removable adjustable straps, which will allow you to attach those straps to either your O-rings or your triangle rings at the base of the bag, and to your O-ring or triangle ring at the top of the bag. And then you can adjust these straps so that this bag fits comfortably on your body. You also have the option of adjusting the shoulder strap so you can wear it right on the shoulder, or extend that so that you can wear it cross-body. Oh my gosh, guys, I love them. I can't even believe I have 2 of these beauties. I want you to vote in the poll if you're on the live chat, or in the comments, which Happy-Go-Lucky bag is your favorite. We got the little foxy lady here. I will give you a little tour of that one. And then we have the original prototype. I'm really torn. There's actually features to both that I love. The foxy lady did end up being a good inch taller. Here's what it looks like. They're both just so stinking cute. I wish I had somewhere fun to go to carry these. So I cannot wait to see your Happy-Go-Lucky backpacks. I want to thank you for making our first Sewspire Sew Together of the new year a success. Please post pictures of your Happy-Go-Lucky backpacks on the Sewspire Facebook group. I will link to that down in the notes for you. And then I'd like to invite you to join me next Friday at noon so we can price this project out and put a value on the bag and our time and efforts. So I hope to see you then. Until we meet again, as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. I'll see you soon, everybody. Can't wait to see your pretty bags. Bye-bye.